If you're looking for something fun and edgy to watch, put Tiny Cinema on your radar. It's unconventional, unpredictable, and downright hilarious. Next up, we're going to take a slight detour to talk about Alone with You.
I love figuring out what makes each one tick.
No one's going to save you, Charlene.
You are alone, Charlene. Your choice.
In Alone with You, we follow a young woman named Charlene, who prepares a romantic homecoming for her girlfriend Emma. It doesn't take long for her apartment to feel more like a tomb, as Charlene begins to hear voices and hallucinate. Alone with You is a pandemic-made film that doesn't feel like a product of the pandemic itself. The film is mostly about love and isolation. When I say isolation, I mean that in both the literal and figurative sense. Alone with You is a great character study that mostly takes place inside of an apartment. I enjoy movies that are set in confined spaces. Oftentimes, that sense of feeling boxed in could lead to some dread-inducing nightmares. Do you enjoy watching spooky movies with creepy mannequins in them? Well, you get that here, and it's one of the scariest scenes in the entire film. Alone with You does a terrific job in building up claustrophobic tension, leading up to a scary reveal and finale. For an independent movie with a small budget and crew, Alone with You features some incredible performances, including a remote and oddly frightening performance by Barbara Crampton. The at-home setting and cinematography is great. While it may be a bit of a slow burn, that didn't take away from my overall enjoyment. The fact that Emily Bennett and Justin Brooks were able to craft a slow tension-building psychological thriller in the heart of the pandemic is impressive. What's even more impressive is the fact that Alone with You was able to get a theatrical release. You can watch the film for yourself right now on Shudder. Go in with an open mind, and you just might be pleasantly surprised. Last but not least, let's talk about The Retaliators.
When a sinner goes unpunished, he is only free from man's law. When man's law fails, God's law prevails.
In the movie, we follow a man named John Bishop. Bishop is an upstanding pastor who uncovers a dark and brutal underworld as he searches for answers surrounding the death of his daughter. I was fortunate enough to watch this movie months ahead of its theatrical release. It's been played in multiple film festivals, where it has earned an amazing amount of awards. And rightfully so, this is a great movie that deserves all the attention it can get. The Retaliators feels like a throwback to the mid-2000s era of horror. This was back when genre movies actually had soundtracks. This movie not only has a soundtrack, but the music itself is a big part of the film. Just look at the list of names here. That's ridiculous! Some of these band members are in the movie too, including Tommy Lee.
Lord have mercy.
This movie is stacked with some incredible talent. The amount of collaboration is huge, and that makes this juggernaut of a movie a force to be reckoned with. When you become a parent, certain movies will hit you right in the sweet spot. The Retaliators did just that for me. So much of it has to do with the amazing performance of Michael Lombardi. We follow Bishop for most of this film. We see him go through every parent's worst nightmare. On top of that, Bishop has to battle his way through multiple levels of hell. This movie is really violent, and there's no shortage of bloodshed to go with the viciously creative death scenes.
Who the hell are you guys? Where's my brother?
I won't be going to any spoilers as to what happens in the story, but I will say I was extremely satisfied with where this intense journey ends. While the movie doesn't necessarily reinvent the wheel in terms of story, I love the direction that it took. Despite the emotional roller coaster of events that take place, the ending of The Retaliators put me in a really good mood. I love this movie, and I can say with complete confidence that The Retaliators is one of the best movies I've seen this year. To make it even better, this movie takes place during the holiday season. So on top of being an awesome heavy metal movie, you can count this as a Christmas horror film. You can catch The Retaliators on the big screen for one night only on September 14th. This is why I love indie horror. There are so many wonderful filmmakers finding different and creative ways to tell a good story. If you ever have the opportunity, go see these movies on the big screen. Once they become available on digital platforms, give them a rating, a review, or even a nice comment. For more indie horror reviews, head on over to thehorrorrevolution.com. I'm going to leave you a quote from one of my favorite podcasts. Stay bloody and keep digesting.